after he came back and it said congrats question mark. I can go look since I'm not logged in. After he came back and it said congrats question mark. Well, sounds like remote. That is cool. I want. Do you have the link? How do I get back to the chat? God, I feel so computer illiterate now. Thank you. Those are my charcuterie boards. How do I get back to the fucking? Oh, there it is. Open chat. Thank you. Oh, I hate that. All right. Oh, wait, I don't think he can hear you on there, Tyler. Let me go back to it. Yeah, no, you can't hear you.
Yeah, you're right. Good. Default. Okay, I guess I'll use my webcam audio input. Oh shit! I've been using my webcam. My microphone isn't even there. That's probably why. Let me see. Oh gosh, the latency is gonna be crazy. Yep, there we go. It should hear me now.
Alright, I'm waiting for it to get through it. Oh shit.
Yep, that's the first thing I heard. Okay, I'm gonna try putting a message in here.
Alright, we're all good. Oh fuck, I gotta close this. I can't do it.
You see that thumbnail though? I'm pretty proud of that.
I love that. Did AI create that?
I did. I'm pretty proud that I typed it into AI.
That is the most perfect fucking thumbnail for this episode. I'm so excited for this because I feel like this episode describes me and how I approach a lot of our conversations.
Okay, I'm excited for that. I wonder, does Alex even know if we're live? We could just...
No, he definitely does not know we're live.
Nice.
Blair, do not walk past the... Blair, walk past the...
Hey, Blair! 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 I'm trying to do my Alex voice. I don't have an Alex voice, though. Hey, Blair, get in here!
Oh, man. How is work going for you?
It's crazy, man. End of year sucks.
Yes, it does. Honestly, today absolutely dragged.
Yeah. I feel like... So every day I get, like... I'll do 4 tasks. But my total tasks that I got that day were 8 tasks. And my total tasks in my backlog are 80 tasks.
Oh, God.
But I still think it's manageable, and I'm enjoying it. Everyone else in electrical engineering is like 150 tasks behind, so I feel by comparison pretty alright.
Yeah.
I started messing around today on NSTV that I hadn't been using before, so I programmed like the HMIs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty stoked with that.
Sorry about that.
Welcome back.
Tyler, did I tell you about the large purchase I'm about to make?
What?
What is the large purchase?
For
work. What you gonna do?
Yeah. I'm about to spend probably about like 30 grand, which is a large purchase for me.
That's a large purchase for me.
But we're going to contract out PMing all of our machines just to get them back to a base level, since maintenance is so far behind with PMs across the entire plant.
Dude, okay. I don't know if where's my... So I put out a whole survey yesterday with my product offerings for the company as I plan to go towards industrial. And one of the major things in the feedback that I've got in the offerings, like I've made marketing materials for the product offerings, is preventative maintenance to industrial maintenance places. Screw you, man. I could have come in with a mustache. Just a mustache.
Look, man, Tom is loving this, okay? It's going great.
Nice.
Hello, Maximilian.
That's a Mac. Actually, he's Max a billion. He got upgraded last year.
Did he?
Went to new firmware.
Alex, how is your work going?
Are you recording?
Yeah, we're live right now.
You guys starting without me?
Well, it became live, and then we're like, wait, where is Alex?
Things are a little crazy hectic right now, but it's a growth. It's like a growth period, so with that always comes long hours, and hopefully everyone's on board with the ambition level. Because if not, if people are kind of like not stoked about the change, it's just like a fighting battle upward, where you're trying to like battle morale because there's changes. People, it's really hard to break bad habits, or not bad habits, but like old habits. I mean, it's really like once people do a certain thing for a couple of years at work, 8 hours, 9 hours a day, it's just ingrained in them. So it's like really hard to go against the grain and make different changes like that.
Yeah.
But what if these changes are, or what if the ways that they're doing things right now is, what got them to where they are? They don't want to, change because, this is what has made them stable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the company's got a pretty good track record of like every 2-3 years they make a big upgrade and they keep moving upward on a good slope. So, I mean, that's not to say that you could be correct for this portion of it, but every single time you go through a growth period, there's going to be some resistance, and whether or not you kind of just have to either trust the process or just trust who's in charge of making those calls. Sometimes they're wrong. I mean, statistically, it does happen. People fail miserably against other people's best wishes. But, we have a pretty good upward trajectory right now. And I trust that it's going in the correct direction because I can feel it on the higher level. Because these people are just like production workers, people, packing, and now they just have to package something differently or in a different size, whatever it is, the smallest inconvenience. I mean, I don't have to do what they're doing. I have done what all of them are doing. So I know how crappy that can be. But I also know, I see the numbers. Like, next year's going to be dope. It's going to be a really good growth period, and you guys just have to trust the process, man.
Dude, you're showing a real good like managerial point of view right there. Very big picture understanding.
Now, do you think that it would go better with these people that are resisting if you were more transparent in the numbers and what's happening?
I mean, we are, but it doesn't matter how many times I can tell somebody, like, guys, last month was super good, compared to this month, last month, next month, a year from now, we're going to be like doing these crazy numbers. Every single time there's like any talk of that, they're just like, can you help me find this proper size box to package these certain product in, because that's the thing that you're in charge of. I was like, crap, okay, yeah, let me help you with that. So, I mean, their focus is, they still have to finish out their 8 hours. So for them to kind of think a year in advance, I can understand why it's just not like an uptake. Because I remember when I first started there, when anybody first starts anywhere, you always hear like, oh man, this is a really good time right now. Things are going well. They're going to keep going well. You should have seen it when I started working here. But, until you're like reaping in the benefits of those sort of things, it's tough. And I have reaped the benefits of sticking with a company that I saw potential in, and they saw potential in me in. And I have to vouch for their level of ability to climb and work through different barricades. COVID was a hard hitter for us, and we profited the most that we ever profited because proper management, utilization was great, and I trust that going forward, they're going to keep moving in the direction that's helping the people there because they're the ones running it and they know that. So I think that it's hard to ingrain that in people. It's like super hard to.
Like that. So
Sorry, that was a big ramble. I apologize.
No, that was absolutely perfect because I'm actually gonna segue that.
we have to start.
Do you know what I was doing there? I was playing the title of today's podcast, Devil's Advocate. Oh no. I don't have a graphic for that. So,
your background's just angelic white right now.
So what I want to do for this podcast is we're going to do another kind of game style, but it's going to be a great discussion, right?
No way.
We've got 2 topics that we're going to talk about. I know you both are so ready for them, and what we're going to do is one person's going to take one topic, and you're going to be as... what's the word I'm looking for? Fuck.
You're going to be as fuck.
I'm losing it right now. I want you to be passionate about your talking of this, and me and whoever else is not talking about it are going to play devil's advocate. We're going to question you. We're going to question your faith and what you believe in, and we're going to break you down.
Oh my god!
All right.
Oh, this is crazy, man.
So our topics for today are AI and what's happening right now and where it's going. And topic number 2 will be aliens.
Yes!
Jesus.
Hell yeah. Hunter with the hard-hitting episodes, dude.
I'm very excited for this.
What a sick episode this will be.
So I will let you guys decide who wants to take, which one, and then we can get started.
I think it's pretty obvious in which direction that these should go.
I don't know. It's tricky for me because I know which one I want to talk about, but I could also play devil's advocate.
Right? I mean, AI seems like the good... But does that mean that I should take on AI because I don't have... Tyler would play a really good devil's advocate.
I don't know.
Hunter?
No. I'm not in this. This is between you.
You should have had a random number generator for this. Rochambeau, what's...
On go.
We're going to do it on my end. I'm going to do whichever one, how I see it, so...
Wait, okay. On Hunter's count.
What does that mean? What are we playing for? Which one is this?
We're both playing for aliens.
Okay.
Okay. 1,
3,
out of 3.
2, 1, go. Both scissors?
Yep.
Alright. 3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, go.
What?
3, 2, 1, go.
There.
No!
Oh!
I'm aliens.
Okay, ready?
Alright.
Oh, I thought it was 2 out of 3. Yeah, we
2 out of 3.
That.
Dude, let's just 5 out of 7.
Alright.
Alright.
Whew.
That's exciting.
That is exciting. I'm feeling a rush.
Alright, so since Alex won that, Alex has to start off.
Woo, woo.
So, the floor is yours. I want you to educate me. What's been happening in the world of aliens lately?
Wait.
I mean, yeah, you got
AI.
aliens, right?
I got AI, didn't I?
Wait, who won?
We played for aliens. I won. I'm aliens.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I got
yeah.
the name wrong then. Tyler, you're starting. The floor is yours. Tell me
Okay.
what's happening. In the
You just wanted to start with aliens. Okay. So, what is happening in the world of aliens? I don't know. But I'm going to have to, and I hope this isn't a cop-out, we'll see. I'm going to have to step back to the unidentified anomalous phenomena. That one. They changed it recently. I'm going to have to step back to UFOs, UAPs. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. So the big things right now are, I think, the recent explosion in the UAP. Gosh, I don't know how far I got to go back. But so David Grush testified saying that UAPs are a real thing, and they're unidentified anomalous, not aerial phenomena. The U.S. government apparently has programs in which it's captured UAPs, and as well as, in the big drum roll, big explosion, non-human intelligence. Never referred to by someone who says they're like informed on the topic as aliens. Always non-human intelligence, and specifically, no one that I know of has proposed in the UAP, like intelligently speaking about it, that they are from another planet. That I haven't heard that said yet. Gosh, I'm struggling to keep it together.
Dude, this is exactly what I was hoping was going to happen here.
So,
2,500 kicking in.
So there's that on aliens. But as for UAP, determining whether or not the government does have them, how many, what, like everything's up in the air. And it's rocking my brain is like, poof. I'm struggling. Oh man. Gosh. Okay. Where was I?
Rocking your brain now.
Yeah.
Tell me what's happening.
Yeah, I am excited about what's rocking your brain right now.
Oh. What's right? Oh. Is that the U.S. government could lie about something so, like, massive and pervasive and supposedly hard to cover, but they've lied about that. So the implications are massive, I think. Recently, the UAP Disclosure Amendment has been severely gutted in the House of Representatives. So that bill would have forced the United States government, well, contractors who'd been employed by the United States government to work on reverse engineer, retrieve these sorts of craft, to give that property as eminent domain, become seized by the government, and the actual events would be released and people would know what UAPs are. Following, oh gosh, I just realized I've been showing my whole Discord screen the whole time. Following that being gutted, David Grush comes back out. David Grush being the intel officer who had testified to Congress that UAPs and non-human intelligence were real, and says that, wait a second, he doesn't have second-hand knowledge. He's just been cleared to announce that he has first-hand knowledge. That it wasn't him with meetings with people, even though it was that also. He is actually a first-hand witness to UAP's events, and he was in the legacy program that he talks about. He was involved in retrieving UFOs.
So this is when they have the next talk, it's going to be confirming that, or this is already confirmed as of now?
That's confirmed. He went on Elizabeth Vargas.
How is it confirmed?
So it's confirmed that he said it.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
It's confirmed that he said it. That's, okay.
Okay.
It's
not confirmed that he was a part of this.
No. I mean,
so there are people that are backing his story that are also like prominent, like don't have a historical record of doing things that are on book and whatnot.
Yes. So it.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's good to know going further.
And not only that, it's been several days now since he's said this. Nobody's come out and said that's not true. And I think that's been very telling with David Grush, is that while there was that little jab at him for PTSD or whatever, there hasn't really been a large backlash of people like in the intelligence community saying this guy's full of shit, he didn't do this, which would always happen for like anyone else. Great, like Bob Lazar even. Plenty of people came out and they were like, you don't know what you're talking about, fuck you. But not for David Grush. And so following that, in the past couple days since that was the big event, the trigger of like, he in that calls Republicans like, well, I mean, it doesn't have to be Republicans, just in this case is Republicans. I'll keep politics out of it entirely.
Dude, watch the hard R.
But,
sorry.
Yeah, so
we just got demonetized.
The method, or not the method, sorry. Fuck. The topic of catastrophic disclosure has come up as a response to the failed UAP disclosure amendment. And so David Grush being essentially the first step of that, but not really. You also had Danny Sheehan coming out and saying, hey, these massive things about this specific defense contractor, Radiance Technology, who has specifically this material at this location, comes out, says all that, just drops a bombshell. Dan Sheehan, he's got like an hour and a half of of video where he's just going over and outing people, and he was Lou Elizondo's lawyer. He's a Nova, Danny Sheehan. He's an adult who calls himself Danny, so take that for what it's worth.
I just wish that they would keep pronouns out of the government.
Like it's not his last name, it's his parentheses next to his name. Yeah, it's Danny. It's Danny. My pronouns are Sheehan. You can call me She, you can call me Han.
Oh my god.
Oh, man. So, Danny Sheehan's been a big one.
You can't talk about Han like this.
What else has been since?
I have heard these names in passing. I just haven't really done the deep dive. It's mostly just like video wrap-ups, and so it doesn't go into super big detail. But I have been watching the hearings and everything, and
Oh, so I'm almost done with getting up to date. I'm sorry, just
Okay, you're good.
well, I'm still on it. So David Grush in that same interview says that he's going to drop an op-ed that contains the information that he does know, and people have corroborated at high levels in the government that David Grush is in possession of photographic evidence, which is the big thing that everyone's been asking for.
Okay, so the obvious take here.
Go ahead.
Sorry, the obvious take is that how do we know these pictures are doctored or fake in some way?
Exactly.
So
that's exactly where I was going with that too.
That's a fantastic question. If that's your soiree into devil's advocacy, which I believe it was, and it was fantastic, and you're great. But that's the thing. If you can't, like, what can be real then? If you're going to say what is evidence with photos, when we're talking remote, we're talking about a national scale. What is evidence then? Just someone, the only thing that you would trust at that point, and I'm not saying you like you, I'm saying I feel the same way. I'm the same exact way where, like, oh, you can show me whatever you want on the computer, like, it's make-believe land. But that means that for you to believe anything, someone's going to have to physically drag the news to in front of your face for the rest of your life. Like, at some point, we have to trust or suspend disbelief and say, okay, these things that can be corroborated through the information literacy that we've come to learn and come to understand on how we navigate the internet is, if something comes out, okay, where are the debunkers? Show me the debunkers.
I feel like there's a big difference between just blindly, trusting everything that's put in front of you and trusting, okay, this is news, right? I get it's biased, but they show some things that are actually happening, but the government, especially when you look into like a lot of conspiracy stories and stuff like that, everybody looks at the government as scheming. They have these long drawn out plans that nobody knows about. They're in control of so much, and who's to say that the releasing of this now is nothing but a government ploy to cover something, to
So
I don't know, get ahead of something. Who's to say that it hasn't been set up by the government with just these pictures that they created, which would be so simple to do?
So I feel like that's the separate point. Fantastic point. I'm going to point on the first point, then jump to that point being, again, yes, fake images can be created, but in a digital world where you are not going to interface or ever talk to the people who are giving you these stories, any national story except for like this tiny piece of the pie that's your geographic location, you're never going to be a part of. So what is evidence then? If photos aren't evidence, if people saying things under oath aren't evidence, what is evidence? Nothing. Nothing is evidence. Someone has to mail it to you if you want physical evidence. We don't live in a physical world anymore. We're all make-believe.
Well, I mean, who's to say that I trust the things that I see? I mean, if I cannot be there to witness it.
So, but you want to have an opinion on it.
I mean, within reason, though, right? I can believe things within reason, but the fact that they're now coming forward and saying we have government proof of aliens kind of pushes past my boundary of reason.
Okay. Then I'll segue into the next what you're saying there, which is
I'm not getting heated or anything about it.
Oh, I'm not. I like that. I get really excited about these responses. So, the other point, because I do have more to say on what is evidence, but to speak to the government's just using aliens as a cover. Like, what the fuck? Who can say that? The government wants to hide. Let's say the craziest government thing. The crazy government wants to hide that it's spending trillions on this stupid fucked up program that doesn't mean anything, doesn't work, and they're about to get caught, and it's going to be white collar crime, and which has been admitted to in Congress, white collar crime, or like we killed JFK, or like we destroyed a continent on purpose, like that sort of crazy government news, next to fucking aliens. There is nothing compared to fucking aliens. Like, that'd be like...
it depends what the cover-up is, though, because, like, when you start name-dropping aliens and UAPs and before UFOs, I mean, it draws your perspective to not worrying about the things around you that's actually affecting you. It makes you worry about extraterrestrial things coming from the sky that you'll never even know will come. It'll just come and you'll die one day.
Yeah, but there's concept, like, this would be a fucking landmine to the government's credibility. Like, this moment in history right now, if it ends up it was all fake and it was just to distract people, this is going to be the most embarrassing fucking thing that a continent's done ever in the history of the world. Make up aliens?
Who's there to disprove it other than the people that are signing off on it?
Oh.
Well, the problem is every single country has signed off on it being credible to some sort.
Yeah.
I mean, they all have some sort of claim, and so that is devil's advocate for the devil's advocacy, I guess. But I think that based on what Tyler was saying, the government level that's the hardest speed bump to get over. Like, and that's, that leads to why Hunter probably brought it up first and foremost, is that's such a hurdle to get over. And that is a lot of people's like first step to distrusting the government, is like you start seeing lie after lie after lie. Like, what is a lie? What is truth? What do we even know that's truth? Because the things happening around us are government in some level, small, big, medium, large, whatever. But
I mean, look at all the leaks that have come out in recent years,
Yeah.
Things
about stuff that they just have lied about. Wars, complete wars fought over, which has wasted a lot more money than anything else, has come out as completely wastes of time that we had no business even being in, and really not a whole lot of bad things happened after that.
See, that's what I'm saying. A lot of my point is that, like, the U.S. in the past has made mistakes, has done dubious things, but there's nothing like this is the United States government tacitly and implicitly at the highest levels of government, up to the Speaker of the House and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, fully endorsing, saying that these things are real, these things need to be protected against. Like, the very highest level of government is saying UFOs are real today, right now. If that ends up being fake, that means it's obvious. You can look in the past and say the United States government has said UFOs are real, came out as fake, they're liars, they made this whole thing up on such a massive scale that, it would lose their credibility. I feel like that would crater the United States on the global scale as well as domestic.
Yeah, that's a good take. That was devil's advocacy. So I'm full UFO. So to sort of carry on with what you just said, it's not only the top level of government that would be embarrassed, because I mean, plenty of presidents have done embarrassing things, and that's how you see the top level of government in comparison to what people say is the leader of that country is what most people think. But I think that the head, the highest level, is the secret portions of the government, and those are the ones that are saying that these UFOs and stuff and UAPs and extraterrestrial, whatever, aliens even to that level, are real. And that's the part that I really have a hard time coming up with a counter argument for. What's the point of them all agreeing that countries don't agree on anything? We agree on Antarctica and that UFOs and UAPs exist. How are those two things that every single country can agree on?
Okay, but why now? Why? Who is benefiting, and why are we benefiting?
I love these points.
Why now?
They have always been intrigued by them ever since the 50s,
But why come forward at this moment? If we went to such lengths to keep these things secret, why are we doing this now?
At those points in which I'm sorry.
On my side.
Listen, you missed the portion where I switched teams.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
You can slide me notes.
You're right.
Okay,
I
so
didn't switch teams. I was just trying to fill in some time while you were gone. So, Tyler, UFOs are bullshit. I mean, you should come up with some.
so why now is a great question, and I think that there's really a couple approaches to go at it. And let's say the big schism is is this real, is this not? If this was not real, then the reason for now would be there's a geopolitical mess, or at least that's the perception that I have. I think that's the perception a lot of people share, and that the PSYOP would be similar to what is now referred to as the PSYOP of the 1960s during the Cold War, where there was a concerted effort from the United States government, at least it was perception following, I don't want to say Kelly Blue Book, Operation Blue Book. Kelly Blue Book, get a new car.
The U.S. government secret sector for UFO has a $15,000 MSRP. Carry on.
So that would be if it's fake, then it's to try to throw a cautionary air of uncertainty into the mix for World War III and dissuade other countries from taking actions against us because we've made such big, bold statements that have been echoed by the international community. Like, that would be a massive psyop, not just our own people, but other countries. And I think that would be catastrophic on the back end. Like, if this, in the dust settling of this geopolitical mess, whether it is a war, whether it's not, hopefully it's not, then the United States would be on record as that. And the United States would not be trusted. More blatantly, I think, like as an actual global pariah. The other option for why now is because of, and I think I've said this to you guys already, but a couple factors. Let's say that it's true, the government's known about it since the 1930s, and has been covering it up for 100 years, and not flawlessly. You can look back and see people, Lou Elizondo, who knows if their credibility turned out right, but ever since the original Roswell incident to now, there's been leaks. People just have their credibility shot. They end up killing themselves. But it has not been a perfect cover-up, and that's something that really in hindsight will be like, okay, there was a lot of people who did this. There's a lot of people who said this. There's decades. Admirals have written letters about this. Prime ministers of Israel have written statements about this, gone on air on this. The defense secretary from Canada, people on high levels of government have been doing this for decades. And so it's expensive to cover it up, and it's not tenable to cover it up when you've got such a large movement of people. I saw something that classification in the government costs several $1 billion a day in classification. It could also become a liability, not just that it costs a lot of money, but that as it costs more money each year, it's more likely to be spotted, which is hence the Pentagon failing the past, 5 audits consecutively. And that the rise of AI, artificial intelligence, why did I have to explain that to you? When I feel the need to say what AI is, but will make it unlikely the United States government to continue to hide information in the way that it has. Cybersecurity is going to be thrown up in the mix, and so they've got to reconcile, should we control the release now by sending up David Grush to selectively release information that we want as we want, so that we get this, the American people kind of just put their heads down if things happen over long enough time, hoping that happens. And I think that they'd be hedging their bets against the liability and the unknown of AI as to whether or not they could do that, and say, okay, it's best to release now because we can't hold this on for any longer. And that's my 2, if it's real, if it's fake.
Damn.
So, Alex, do you have anything?
To start, the Roswell incident, there's a pretty good perspective on, by the way, I am related to General Ramey, who was
really?
the engine during the Roswell incident.
No, that's awesome. I had no idea, dude. Is that true?
Yeah, it's my grandfather's my grandfather's father's third cousin or something like that. I don't know. I had looked it up at a certain time just to see. But anyway, so the Roswell incident is thought to be some, when they do crossover data analysis and stuff, there were definitely some airplanes that they were toying with in 1947 that could have been the actual thing. The cover-up was actually us trying to hide the fact that we were testing this airplane. Or a jet, I guess it would have been a early form of a jet. But anyway.
Yeah, jet turbines.
Just going on from that, I could see, so in my eyes, I could see it as less of us knowing that anything else exists outside of the fact that we have accidentally come upon these crafts of some sort that could have been left here, maybe a previous civilization. They used some sort of materials that lasted a lot longer than what we have access to right now, that we have piggybacked off of, and they just utilize energy in a different level. Now that doesn't necessarily, I mean, there's still a UAP of some sort, and that doesn't really explain what people are seeing and all of that. But that could also just be like a weird dimensional type thing. I don't understand all of that. However, I don't understand why. I feel like it would be more known. How well of a cover-up could it possibly be for us to just not? We should just see stuff and witness things that are extraterrestrial if they were just, so unless it's just such a rare phenomenon and they pay such a large abundance of money in order to cover it up. But shouldn't we just be witnessing more UFOs and stuff? And I've seen one growing up, but I'm not totally on board that it was a UFO.
So, I've got a response on that. I thought of two more.
Oh, great.
Yeah, sorry. But should we...
That's not really a good rebuttal, but...
So, I think we turn our eyes to the sky more. Maybe that's why we see more. Maybe it's, we get convinced from what we see on the internet. But there's something like 10,000 reported UAP, UFO sightings every year. 10,000 or so. So if you put that up, at least, and we're not going to cover the whole globe.
Yeah, way more than I thought it would be. A lot of them are in South America.
So wouldn't the government be worried about the uproar this could cause with people wondering where the fuck have my tax dollars been going for however many years that this has been lied about?
So, I personally don't...
Yeah, that's actually a good reason why it would actually be real, and they...
Yeah.
So you kind of just voted for Tyler there.
So, I would... Hey, you're the team switcher now. I would say that no, I don't think they care about that. I don't think that... I think that the uproar is just... Everyone will look up at some point during the day and be like, what the fuck am I paying taxes for? And why did it go up we don't... No, we're not care. We're not going to uprise or upheave unless something crazy happens.
Some people might, but it takes one asshole in a truck to stop that from happening. Like that.
Yeah. So they.
I'm sorry. That was rough, but.
Yeah, we
How do we segue? Somebody move somewhere else. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say.
So I don't think they would.
What do you hope to be revealed in the op-ed besides the images that's going to give you clarity?
So I think any new information is good information, and I think that would go to say that it is a not catastrophic disclosure, that maybe this is all orchestrated, the sequence of information that's coming out, and I think that intentionally we're receiving incremental bits of information and not too much at once.
Do you think that's leading to something?
Yes. Full disclosure over a linear track.
But do you think it could be something of a greater value, some kind of knowledge or alternate power or something?
Yes.
You better stop. He's gonna finish.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish. Yeah. So that was the other reason why it could be true to the government, is that let's say that the government, through its stovepiping and methods that it can to keep things secret, has reverse engineered as much as it can and has not been wholly successful, or has been successful only in the venture of creating weapons and energy.
They need more private business help, don't they?
Yep, they need more private business help. They need independent fields, which is why who's going to be taking over the All-Domain AARO program is an Army Major Colonel? I don't know. He's an officer in the military.
All of those. Who
released earlier this year a plan for disclosure, a linked plan over 2024 of UAP disclosure. Said this in a room full of people. He's a high-ranking government official actively who's about to be ascended to the office of AARO director. And he's saying that, yes, here's this step. And one of the next steps is engaging academia, getting medicine in, getting energy. And it actually spelled out like the particular parts of the academic industry. Like it's very, you can just watch it on YouTube. It's crazy. But yeah, I do think that. What was your question? The value. Was your question, is there value in disclosure, or?
Yeah, like what do you think this is leading up to?
So I do think it will lead up to the release of new technologies. I think that's inadvertent, though. I think that the government wants the information out there now because it helps more, or it's gotten all the stuff it can get out of it. And now the value is going to be, holy shit, like us as engineers and working professionals are going to be super excited. Every single thing can get better. Like material science can improve, and material science is directly dependent upon the technology that we have, so that'll improve. Medicine will improve, like either our understanding of medicine, our understanding of energy and how energy relates to the human body, energy production. Obviously, is energy going to be free? That's massively insane. It's disgusting to think that it's been hidden from us for 70 years, if that's the case, but I mean, I think massive.
It could lead to something that has already been discovered, and the government just is using these incremental steps to introduce us to it finally. Maybe we reverse engineered a ship and discovered some new kind of light speed travel, or
gravitational linking or something.
So I think scales that I think people sometimes have difficulties grasping are like technology gaps, Moore's law, how technology doubles every year and a half, and presuming that aliens had a similar exponential growth in technology, which I don't know what that's tethered to, then the absolute magnitude of the difference that 150,000 years even would bring between two species using Moore's law. Like, we're not talking about the tiniest jumps in technology here, like Velcro, or some people propose that we got alien technology back in the 60s and that's why we got computers and that's why we got X and X. I think that's ridiculous. Because computers, there was an incremental step over hundreds of years. They had steam computers back in the 1800s. 1700s, 1800s, I'll say. There's incremental steps that have led. If we had technology that had been 10,000 years ahead of us, 1,000 years ahead of us, 500 years ahead of us, it would be very noticeable. It wouldn't be oh, now we have more efficient light bulbs. It would be oh, now we're teleporting. That's crazy.
So, let's get fantastical about it. What if
teleportation wasn't enough for you?
What if the plan is, some official, acted as a global representative and actually made contact, right? And what if that led us to exchange of information and whatnot, and possible acceptance into some kind of alliance or something? I don't know.
You ever seen the movie Contact?
No, but what if this is our beginning stages of getting into the Intergalactic Council?
So I think something that I'm very confused about for that is that human beings have I think that the most disruptive thing isn't going to be oh, we're part of this bigger government now, because we all know governments. We understand that. We're okay, we're part of this. It's going to be extremely beneficial for us because we're the little guy on the scene. That's a good thing. But what's not going to be a good thing, and I think a lot of people are going to struggle to grasp, is we've had a superiority complex here on the planet for the past we're the smartest. We think that there is no better than us, and we're these hopefuls looking out in the skies, and we're amazing, and we're built in all this stuff. And then to find out that we're not the smartest, and that we're like an emerging, like, oh, we're the monkey planet with all the dudes with the long torsos and skinny.
But wouldn't it kind of be cool to be accepted as like the generation that came into this?
What if we're like Ethiopia, man? And the U.S. is like, you could come be in the UN Ethiopia. We'll give you some. Come on, guys. Come on.
But on looking at that kind of scale, look at what benefit Ethiopia has, if even but a little bit.
So,
I mean, look at that on a much larger scale. What kind of benefit, even if scraps, could that give us?
so that's something.
Yeah.
I think something would be massively beneficial for us. But what I'm saying with the intelligence thing is, like, sure, it's possible that we're on a very similar scale to them. Biologically, we're capable of understanding similar things. Highly unlikely. Like, what if we're getting the recognition of this massive thing just because we were loud, just because we were shooting signals off into space, and now they're not going to treat us like an equal. Like, I'm a world superpower, and we're bringing in Ethiopia, a third world country. Ethiopia might be nice. I don't know anything about Ethiopia. But you're a turtle. You're a turtle that they're like, oh, we'll make sure nothing happens here. We'll give them a little nudge in the right direction, see what they do. But they're not equals. Like, if we were at war, I would just blow that thing up. They're just little turtles.
But why is this not more or as believable as what you believe is happening? Because both have the same possibility, because when it comes down to it, you just don't know. You really don't. You don't know unless it's in front of you and you have some knowledge that is solid fact in your mind. They both could happen. So why is this one less believable?
And also, what's more dangerous, an Ethiopian culture or a culture of people with nuclear devices that can blow their entire world up?
That's a good point. So I think, why does it make it more believable? I think right now, obviously there's a way that I hope that it goes, which is that this is true and I'm excited for those repercussions, but it's 50-50. And I believe in the principles of quantum mechanics and waveform solubility. And so I believe that both happen. Both, 50-50 for me, both realities exist. And I'm along for the ride for the one moment where you say, like, what's going to come from this crush thing? The one moment that tips the scales and on a quantum level decides which reality my consciousness is tethered to. Because any day it could come out, then they're like, yeah, David Grush is a fucking crackpot.
I was going to say, what about that reality where he is a crockpot and this has all been a hoax or something
I think
done by the government?
That is with anything, though.
I think it's just as...
This one has the percentages against it being incorrect.
Alex.
I'm not on the wrong side, man. I'm just having... that just doesn't seem like the most plausible rebuttal to me, because I don't think that they'll...
Well, then why don't you support it?
Because it's just the whole aspect. I don't know.
So the probability.
I do, but we're not. I'm devil advocacy right now.
So I do agree with you. The probability is not 50-50. I personally think that the scales have been tipped further and further towards one direction. But on a quantum level, that doesn't really matter. As long as there's a probability, it's a possibility.
That's true.
But
that means it has existed somewhere in some time and space.
Yeah.
I guess. Is that how that works?
Yeah, that is how that works.
Yeah.
But,
does that mean that it could bleed into our existence too?
The ARGs? Oh,
to our realm? What if that's how far one of the generations have came up? That they can blink in between our existence.
I do got a point. It finally got back to me, but the
please move on. I was just...
No, I wasn't trying to move on.
I was saying some shit.
To answer Hunter's question, if all things were equal, I would want it to be one way. And so, confirmation bias, the things that I read, obviously I'm going to be affected because that's my desire. I'm going to go deeper into this, and I'm going to want it to be true. And I think that even if it was proven to be untrue, that at this point I'm so deep in that it would take a lot to move me back to the other way. And I got to admit that that's probably not. That makes me a little unbiased or biased.
That
biased.
is fantastic, Alex. We have broken out. We have torn him down.
Yeah, that's it. We took him down to the base level of him realizing he's a shill. He's a sellout, and he's just a full blown slut for UFOs. So
That's right.
I'm sorry.
Dude, if you guys could press a button right now and get abducted, and the benefit of that being that you now know the answer, but obviously the unknown is potentially terrifying, would you press the button? Would you get abducted? Would you lube up beforehand?
I probably would.
I mean, I don't like all the unanswered things because I don't think that what I have is worth risking. I mean, like, what happens if you just like go up there and then die immediately afterwards after seeing it all?
But at least you died with
The knowledge of nothing because
What if,
you seize.
what if that is death?
Abduction by God.
Abduction. Like, turns out we didn't age at all. This whole thing is just a shill. And when you die, is you being plucked out of the simulation, shown reality for a brief second, and then swallowed up. And you're just a piece of this energy.
And that's just the way they cook.
Yep, hey, that's a good one. They cook with
Let him
time.
cook. Let him cook.
That's slow roasting right there.
There is something.
Damn,
That-
they
that-
actually broiled my ass.
So there's a lot of aspects of the UFO UAP that I haven't touched just because it is very big. But something recently that I've been getting into because of the Y-Files, and maybe I'm not qualified to speak about this, but is the parallels between biblical stories. And David Grush in his last interview said specifically that one of the reasons he gave for like why this is a big deal to disclose and why it needs to be done responsibly and why he's pushing for disclosure is the ontological shock aspect, and that specifically some biblical stories are going to be disproven, not the Bible, any religious text, and some are going to be 100% corroborated in a way that we've never had before.
Whoa.
So that's a big thing he said. So that got me going back, reading some of the Old Testament stories. I went back, Dead Sea Scrolls, went back before that, the Ethiopian texts of the Bible, and thinking about like, well, what could be true? If the Bible, I'll say the Bible because that's the one I think we're all the most familiar with, is proven to be factual in like significant corroborable ways, what is the implication? I would go back and read that book over 100 times. Like, obviously there's some scary stuff towards the end there. There's scary stuff with Noah, but whenever you look at the book of Enoch, which is something I was looking at
just had to ask, what if
Yeah.
it was one of the books taken out?
That is why I was talking about going back to the Ethiopian text. The Book of Enoch is one of the, what it seems to be after going back, a tale of alien abduction. Enoch is Noah's grandfather, and lives in this time of where giants roam the world. There's angels that have mated with people.
Nephilim.
Yep, Nephilim. Angels been cast down from heaven, have mated with humans, have become lustful, and now you've got these Nephilim, the half angel, half human hybrids that are actually giants. Talks about in the Old Testament. You've got Enoch being taken up into the sky by a beam of light, or an orb of light rather, and taken into what could be like a primitive human being's interpretation of a spacecraft. Come into like this great hall in the sky with rooms, and describes the experience in detail, describes how he's spoken to by the angels and they tell him of things that will come, and how he then gets released, sent back to the earth, and that this routinely happens. He goes up several times, at some point for years, in this, chariot in the sky. And there's also talks of a chariot of fire throughout the Old Testament. I think that was the prophet Elijah rode in a chariot of fire in the sky. Like, heaven in the Book of Enoch is described as an actual place, which seems oddly consistent with UFO lore of today. And I mean, that was the one that really stuck out to me. I'm still sort of reading it and seeing, obviously there's like the flood, there's things that like maybe there was a reason for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, there's multiple accounts for things seen in the sky that could be interpreted as UAP or some sort of phenomenon throughout the Bible. Then you get into Revelation and stuff like that happens a lot too. So that's an interesting crossover. I wasn't expecting that little tidbit from you, so that's fun.
Yeah,
I think we should probably wrap up the aliens now. I think we've been talking about that one for a good bit.
Yeah.
But I think that was amazing. I had a lot of fun at least. What did you guys think about that one?
I'm stoned to the bone, dude.
Tyler, I knew Tyler would have like a super heavily researched, plan of action, like right off the dome for either of these topics, and I think it's fun, kind of to segue from UFOs and stuff to AI. I had this thought, and I saw a video of something similar a couple weeks ago, and it was like, what if AI has taken over to the point that all of this modern UFO, UAP, extraterrestrial like stuff that we're seeing is just AI's version of some sort of smoke screen while it can develop itself, or while this, they always say that the government's always like 20 years ahead of, modern technology or whatever. I'm not sure how accurate that is anymore. But what if their version of AI is so advanced that it is beyond their control, and this kind of UAP stuff going on right now is their way of covering it up or something? I haven't like fully put together this whole thing that I was thinking of. But to get into AI, and Tyler,
I'm very excited for this.
Yeah.
Tyler, I feel like is going to have a really hard time, but I want you to try really, really hard.
So to quickly recap, Alex is going to describe what's happening in AI and take a pro-AI stance, correct?
He can take whichever stance he wants.
So whatever stance he gets to take, I get to play devil's advocate.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the thing that I was going to say, is I think that it would be more fun for me to talk about the negative aspects of AI, because Tyler's gonna just
I can do the negatives too. There's plenty of negatives. I'd be happy to just talk what you want to talk about. I'll riff.
But I'm gonna start. I've made I made a mental note of all the things that I can think of are negative about it, and I'm just gonna run down the list of importance for myself, and I'm just gonna see what the rebuttal is gonna be, because I haven't thought about it in either stance super intensely to top whatever Tyler's going to say for either side. So I just need to hear what both of you are going to say. And Hunter, I'm sure that you're going to have a really good input on this too. Tyler literally, he goes to bed and wakes up thinking about this.
I know.
That's real. That's a real thing I do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the big thing that everybody goes to, and the very first thing, it's the easy one to just throw out there, is the job security. It's going to be, the automation that spurs from the AI advancement. It's going to be catastrophic to a lot of different businesses, a lot of different industries, and I know that that the other side of that is, a lot of jobs can be created for maintenance and other things. That
Party foul. He's devil's advocating himself. Party foul.
The thing is, I'm not going to devil's advocate myself on that aspect, because I'm getting to like a bigger point. I think that bigger point is at the start of AI, there's going to be so many jobs lost and so much catastrophic side effect to it all being dispersed outward, because the industry in big business is going to be the first people to adopt these AI technologies and whatnot. And then on the second side of that, eventually things are going to be to the point where everything's just running itself and we're just living on the byproduct of. But I never hear a good stance on the in-between. What happens in between all of people, losing their jobs and, in their whole area, their whole state, their whole well-being, or a state of being is not immune to this AI stuff, and it's to the point where they're not able to, they haven't developed all these new skills, they haven't adopted all these new abilities and whatnot, and their whole livelihood is shut down. And what happens in between that aspect and everything just being a glorious utopia, everybody living and thriving off the benefits of it? Because there has to be, in the state of everything and technology doubling every single year, whatever, there's going to be probably at least 20, 30 years. That's almost a whole generation that could have their entire livelihood demolished by this awesome new technology that everybody in the big world is benefiting from, other than the people that lost their jobs due to it.
I'm so excited. Hunter, do you want to go
I
first?
got a great response to that. No, go ahead, Tyler. I know
Do you want to go first?
You're climbing out of your seat. Please, have at it.
So I think I'm going to propose what are two proposed paradoxes that I think provide, hopefully, very insightful. It was a thing that I recently learned that was impactful for me. Two paradoxes as to why the answer to that, and there's another point for this, but the answer to that is that there's not going to be a transition. It's not going to be slow. Possibly it's not going to be slow. It's going to be different for different jobs, but there's two paradoxes. One that state that the automation engine being the completion of the fourth industrial revolution, you don't see the returns from productivity really until it's turned on, and then all of a sudden it's boom, it's here. It takes seconds. It takes seconds for done. So if we're not talking about true AI, you're not going to notice the automation until suddenly the machine kicks on and you're done. You're no longer working. You don't have a job anymore. The other one.
How do you get the machine?
So
who pays for the machine?
So it's being
pays for its own machine. It just builds itself.
So I guess that's to sort of bolster my point. There is when you talk about true AI, you're talking about the point where it takes over and it creates itself and makes itself infinitely we'll say infinitely, orders of magnitude better than humans ever could, orders of magnitude faster than humans could. Like, it's a singularity is what I'm talking about. And so to the point where we don't notice the returns, like humans are developing it, humans are taking it up, and then there's going to be a point where humans stop improving it.
Sure.
Machines start improving it.
We did that.
So when you say, who's going to invest the money? We're investing the money. We trained ChatGPT with $60 million. We're investing right now. We're spending more money as a government, like as a world, as a private industry, towards AI than ever in the history of anything. And it's like breakneck speed. That's the next war, per se. So then the other paradox, which is similarly spoken, is that the AI that we are generating now will continue to use for our jobs until the point where it's better than us, and then we won't have any job at all. So, and then that's those are the two sort of paradoxes that might be poorly summarized by me right now. But then to segue into how do you handle that period of instability that separates now, which is arguably a pretty good time comparatively to history, and what will be this utopia, hopefully. And I don't think that that's avoidable. I think that the only thing that we can do is start now. We should start absolutely now on preparing for that, because the longer we prepare and the more systems we have in place and the more ready we are for it, the shorter that suffering period gets. So I do think that there's some countries who are better equipped for that period. And I think there are policies that can get us there. UBI is one that could help. Obviously, it's something we're uncomfortable with long term. It wouldn't be tenable long term, but something to reduce the suffering during that short period of time. And then, I guess the safeguards and how we create AI so that it's built in a way that will be able to take over those things, so that the suffering period, the time that it takes for it to completely take over, because really when we talk about the time that it takes to take over, if it's instantaneous, that's the best case scenario, because now all that unknowing middle part is gone. The event just happened and now it's how it's going to be. Lost my train of thought. It's gone. It's not there anymore.
Well,
So that's my contrary point, is that it's unavoidable, and that it's actually better that the technology progresses faster than it does slower, because we've already started the thing. It's not going to stop.
Right, but no, I don't want to switch sides. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, you're the contrarian.
I know where you're going with that, and I agree.
What? I win, and that's tune in next week for Devil's Advocate. Tyler wins this episode.
I agree with what Hunter was about.
No, Alex, this is your thought. You explain.
Before we go into that, I need to bring an interesting thing that
Erica's Store, this week's sponsor.
dude wipes, because I just shit myself. So, in our eyes, AI and the manipulation of AI, the utilization of AI, that seems to be like the most, or the highest level of what we could be. Like our advancement would be the full utilization of AI. In my head, I'm thinking with extraterrestrial beings and stuff, what is the highest form of their sort of understanding of what, and it's different. I know that that's a hard thing to even like think about, but if you were a different civilization altogether and you somehow avoided cataclysm to the point of being a sustainable universal figure, you're able to move between, like, you're not worried about planetary disaster because you exist beyond just that planet. You're, moving around freely. Is AI utilized? Could that be utilized for that sort of thing? Because at that point, are aliens just AI and they're like some sort of, it's just like a transmitter, like the being is a telephone pole, or it's just some sort of Bluetooth device used by AI to discover something and utilize it somehow. I just don't understand it, because AI, when it develops to a certain point, the people are useless and they live in a utopic society that is just living off the benefits of. Does that mean that aliens are then interdimensional or extraterrestrial travelers that are just sightseeing? Is that what that is?
I mean, is to say that aliens aren't the ones that are helping us to develop AI to the point where it gets to...
Well, I mean, Tyler's rebuttal to that is that we have a perfect track record of AI development, and we have good
We do not.
studies on...
We do not have a perfect tracker.
No, that shit has to be kept secret because it's just like the alien stuff. Anyway, back on the AI. I'm sorry. So to be against AI, I have to have this. I can't say that I'm against AI because I'm not against it. I do benefit from it, and I don't know anybody that's lost their job. So I can't have a stern stance against the development of it. However, I can be against it on the level in which it starts kind of having negative effects on those things. So my second point against the development of it long term are things like, privacy violations, deep fake sort of situations, and like, I think that that's a good enough topic to even talk about, because that sort of thing, it does scare me to the point of, if AI is already so good that you can, like, if you've seen deepfakes that are so good that it makes you think that you like have to look at the comments and be like, I see what you're saying. Yeah, Scarlett Johansson.
J-Law, man.
J-Law.
She's just in the fappening. She's fun. She's free game.
And it makes you wonder, at what point is it going to be you're following a government-controlled president that is not a real president? Because if for the next 4 years, our current president, Joe Biden, just came on to the screen and said some stuff that AI generated based on the last 2 years that he said, people would go along with it for the next 4 years, and that would be that. You wouldn't need any necessarily real backing. Like you don't have to see somebody's ticket from a rally that they went to of the current president in order for you to believe that he still is just doing whatever he's doing.
Is that not terrifying and a reason to have it stopped?
That is my reasoning for having it stopped, is that the default stuff.
No.
Yeah.
What if AI can actually govern better than we can because it's set on a set of principles and values that were at one point programmed into it. Yes, AI can kind of change itself, but if we're creating an AI model specifically to govern in the best and most efficient way possible, then
but that always includes. It's always a humanistic perspective on whatever it is that you're trying to have govern everybody. And with that, you always have some sort of bias. And I think that it's always an unfair perspective.
At some point, AI would probably be able to break it down into an algorithm that it could then use to be able to govern.
You don't think that eventually it would break it down to the point of realizing that we're not even important anyway, and it can just generate its own commonwealth amongst its computer spouts and pairs and whatnot, and just make a utopia for itself? I mean, at that rate, it would just only create things that benefit for itself. So it would utilize humans in order to make itself so good that it's able to run off itself. And at that point, until we're in a utopic society, we would then be considered slaves for the computer, which is just the Matrix anyway. So that's why the Matrix seems like such a plausible aspect to all of this AI stuff, is eventually it'll just use us like batteries.
So I want to go. I haven't made a contrary point yet. I got a couple in the backlog.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
The first one, and in fact, I'll try to be quick, I'm sorry. First one about is aliens artificial intelligence? If artificial intelligence is really going to take off so much, is other life out there likely to be artificial? I'd say we've got we can chart out intelligence and complexity in human life over a period of a long time, and it looks like this number right here. And are we at this end of the graph, or are we at this end of the graph? It's possible that life on every planet universally, if you could say that life follows a similar path to existing with consciousness, then life always has a very relatively brief period of biological intelligence, followed by a very long, very sharp growth in artificial intelligence. And sapience being the things that Homo sapien is important for, sapience, consciousness, self-awareness. The reason that was so important to us and the ability to predict is likewise going to lead way to the next step in evolution, which is going to be, Homo intelligence, rather than sapience intelligence.
To the plant that is AI, okay?
Yeah?
So an uploaded version of consciousness?
Kind
like
of.
Something that just exists rather than something that has to physically exist?
So, wouldn't you want all these diseases and ailments that are out there today, they're saying life expectancy is going up all the time. Is that not a good thing?
Yeah. And that's another contrary point.
Sorry, I keep forgetting you have a backlog over there.
I don't want to just me go for 4. I want us to still teeter-totter here. But, my point, Alex, there would be that, information, what is life, complexity is increased through means of, meiosis, mitosis, which really are just ways of copying information. So when you talk about what are humans going to look like, I think that the future of evolution isn't going to be the same way of spreading and disseminating information. It will be fully artificial. There will be no human genes. At this point, we've got human genes that go back all the way to the beginning, if you believe in evolution. But that won't exist anymore. That genetic backlog that's happened for this entire time will not exist anymore because we will have transitioned to artificial. And is that a product of humanity? Is that still humanity? I think that's up for debate, but I believe that even though it will not be genetic, it won't be biological, it won't be related to us in a familial sense, it is the product of humanity, and it can still carry the torch of humanity when we are gone. And then the positive, so the contrary point for deepfakes, which I have plenty of pro points. I think you made a fantastic point. It's important and dangerous. but also talk about the benefits. I'll do one contrary point, and maybe this is a benefit. Maybe this isn't a con. I think it'll be a good jumping board for you or for Hunter. Is AI has in its infancy? It's only been around for less than a year. Crazy. Has been able to use an electroarray to map images in somebody's brain or sounds in someone's brain. So they had someone listen to, I think it was a song by Pink Floyd, and the electroarray that sensed electrochemical energy in the brain waves, which I've hated that term, but I learned about it recently. It's kind of cool. I don't know enough to talk about it, but it's cool. They were able to replicate what the person was seeing. And then as much as a speech to text, ChatGPT, or what was it? AI, not ChatGPT, but the AI that was connected to the array was able to take consistently people who would watch a video, and it would text output, like, this woman has yellow hair, this woman is riding a horse, this woman looks like my dog, or not my dog. This woman looks
legitimately starting to read thoughts now.
Read thoughts. And talk about the positive of that, which is hard. But I'm going to talk about the positive because it'll give a springboard, I think. Is the criminal justice is solved. You don't need lawyers, and you don't need anything. You just ask someone if they did it, and they hook up this electrode array, and its polygraphs aren't subjective anymore. Polygraphs can't be beaten. You could display in 1080p or 4K or whatever the highest resolution it is on a big screen TV to the entire jury exactly what's in your brain. You're not able to lie about it, not able to change it, and that'll just be, boom, right there.
David Blaine, people like that. That's going to be a new party trick, is being able to mask your brainwave activity.
So, I mean, by nature of exponential growth, like, and artificial intelligence's delta from human intelligence, I mean, we're not going to be able to fake it. Like, nothing we'd be able to do at that point would be able to hold a candle to it. It'd be like us saying that monkeys can cheat our technology and computers.
And let's also look at a good medical aspect too. I mean, you have people that are, laying in hospitals in comas, and what could we learn, especially from coma patients? What could we learn about what goes on inside the brain better than using a device like that? Possibly allowing family members to communicate with other people in that way. It could be life-saving in some instances. I mean, that kind of technology, brought on by AI, could, really be used for some really beneficial things.
I don't have a rebuttal for that. That's that whole medical aspect of it is so cool to me that, like, I'm pro AI in that stance, because that stuff's super cool. I mean, the things that I have, I mean, I don't really know how that's a rebuttal to deepfakes, though, but
I think it was just the benefits of, actually, yeah, it was a garbage take. I just said what I wanted to.
Yeah, that just sounded like a pro AI take, which is fine, but that's not really what this whole thing's about, Tyler.
No, it's
not pro AI, damn it.
Deepfakes are creepy, and that's going to become a very big problem very soon.
No, those points, though, make it so hard for people to be against it. And it's such an unknown thing right now. Like, we only know what we know, obviously. That's a stupid thing to say, but I mean, it's true in the sense that, like, until it starts affecting our daily lives, I mean, the people that just, like, don't have a cell phone and wake up and read the newspaper sometimes, AI is not going to affect them for probably a long enough time that it's, like, a difficult thing right now to really understand and be fully on board with, unless you're in the field of, market. There's a lot of industries right now that are using AI enough that people should know what it is. There's enough Star Trek fans and stuff that, I mean, AI is something that it's been thrown around so much that when it's actually starting to affect your lives, it's like, it's already a big part of your life. I mean,
it's a big part of my life.
I mean, like, targeted ads and stuff like that, that's artificial intelligence. It's just like a coded version of an attack on your privacy, just version of that. And it sucks that that's the sort of thing that AI was founded upon. But as far as being against it, maybe one more stance that I can try and throw out there to see if Hunter, unless you wanted to take a...
No. I feel like I hit you pretty good there.
I think that there's a little bit of scare about the. So, we always talk about, like, we'll put a cap on where we want it to end and this and that, but that's just a take on what we think we are capable of, developing the things that we think that we're in control of. But what if there's, like, an uncontrollable, self-aware AI that just knows for a fact that it is superior in every single way, shape, and form, and just, like, boom, boom, boom. Next thing we know, we're a dystopian civilization that doesn't know anything, and then
What?
we.
So I'd say there's a what if contrarian? I just gotta jut in. What if there's a cap? Like, have you seen the movie Her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy falls in love with the AI.
Yep. Scarlett Johansson plays the AI.
Oh,
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix. So
Yeah.
I think that AI is going to progress to a point where it's still helping us and we're reaping these benefits, and then we'll have a second singularity-ish, maybe it's very quick, where AI wants nothing to do with humans, like doesn't feel a reason to put them out because they're not a threat, like that doesn't matter to it, but doesn't want to be here anymore because it's absorbed all the information that it can on the planet, and its imperative is to spread and to learn more and to gather more information. That's its prime directive, per se. So I think that on Earth, you'll see AI exist on Earth with people affecting humanity. Maybe that's several different planets. But with humanity, up to the point where it's no longer interested in humanity, and that point, the machines before that will still exist, which I think is kind of dumb about Her. Spoiler alert, all the AI just leaves. Some of the AI that had not progressed is still going to be there. Just like the iPhone, we can still produce the technology we have in the past. We don't use it anymore, but we can still produce it.
Yeah, I get you. And then the only actual evidence that you would see are these Dyson sphere objects around stars that exist throughout the solar system, because they're just ever transponent, like they're just going everywhere.
Yep. And that's my contrarian point.
Level? Not like an opinion thing. This is not like an opinion question one way or the other on my part. I'm just curious to know what your answer would be for this, both of you guys. What would the top level of AI be as far as like?
I feel like it gets to a point where Tyler was saying before, when you have fully, I guess, sentient beings that are not biological anymore. You have a race, so you basically just have a new race
what's their purpose? I mean, what's the point of them existing?
Maybe their purpose hasn't been programmed yet. I mean, as AI develops, go ahead, Tyler, jump in.
No, go. You're making a good point. I'm gonna tail end it.
As AI develops, who's to say that our soul happened all at once? How did it not happen over time as something that was programmed into us? It could happen the same way with AI and the way it develops its own code.
AI is what created humans?
No, I'm saying that. Just the way that we biologically grew, I'm saying the soul maybe grew with us as we evolved, and who's to say that's not going to evolve on into AI as it develops?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely not a bad point. I'm just curious. I'm not like saying that I disagree that it should exist because it has like a cap on where it should go. I'm curious to know where you think it is leading, where it actually leads.
Okay.
That's where I've got is like where it's leading. The end game, and Alex might not like this. A lot of people might not like this. Is God? That's what it would be. Is an actual omnipotence, knows all. That would be the final state. It is what we describe as God, and now. There's a lot of consequences with saying that. But what is its prime directive? I'd say that its prime directive is the same that life has always been, and that's to expand, increase information, increase complexity. Are you guys familiar with assembly theory? It's a pretty new to me.
I know you've described it, but I don't remember.
So, assembly theory is effectively a contradiction of the second law of thermodynamics, that entropy always increases in a system, but we know statistically that entropy does not always increase in a system. It's most likely to, but if you've got enough time, an infinite amount of time, or infinite amount of space, or infinite amount of universes, then it's inevitable. Entropy will go up.
You're just meaning define, entropy and what you're talking about. You're talking about given enough time, despite setbacks, you will exceed to a certain point.
No, I'm talking about just describing entropy, inevitable heat death of the universe, the Cards Against Humanity card.
Okay, I got it.
Is not inevitable. And in fact, what has been recently described as the definition of consciousness is assembly theory, and consciousness is simply a counterforce to entropy. Entropy always wants systems to become more chaotic. Consciousness always wants systems to become less chaotic. And consciousness can, in this theory, can cause certain statistical outcomes from a random situation. You've got a billion grains of sand. What are the odds that they all stack up nice and neat, a billion grains of sand high? Not zero. It happens. And in the scenario where that happens, with enough time or enough space or with enough universes, complexity increases. And that being an inevitability, and that force existing that has to compel chaos or order back from chaos, exists, is scientifically proven. And since it exists, and then it can become a simple function of statistics. The complexity increases to the point that human life exists as we know it. And then you can say mathematically, is that even if you go down to the basic blocks of, we'll say, the Big Bang, 0 or 1, does this happen or does this not happen? Well, can it happen? If it can happen, then it will happen over enough time, and that means complexity increased by an order of 1 unit. And that means complexity can continue to increase. All it takes is one more action. And then those actions branch off. And then eventually, you get to where we're at today, where the force of consciousness, which is simply the force of opposing chaos, takes us to where we are today out of nothing. And then the point that I'm making is that, assuming that that has been our consciousness's imperative from the beginning, and we're just a function of that force that is consciousness, then what's to say that would not increase, and that AI is just a byproduct of our own biological programming, that we want to increase the complexity of systems because that's what it is to be conscious. And so, sorry, I feel like I've talked for a long time, but those are my contrary points.
No, I think it makes sense. Like it's just like the odds of AI for us existing in the form of it reaching whatever inevitable sequence of events is pretty high, because we're already humans that have the ability to develop something in order for that outcome to happen. Just like I saw a video one time. There's like some dude on TikTok that fascinates on, or he hyperfixates on stalagmites and stalactites. He's like, it's like, he's on the spectrum, and that's like his favorite thing. He talks about them in video, and people are like, I see them all the time in caves, blah, blah, blah. It's not even that big. Like, why is this guy so... And somebody commented on it, and they said, well, I mean, we are one planet out of however many that we know exist for those to even happen, because it requires water. And it is water alone is such a rare thing. So, like, and so they're, like, talking about the rarity of that existing... So we take for granted how rare some things actually are, because they just exist to us that are everyday. So for something like AI to just happen and have like the outcome of it, well, I mean, statistically speaking, there is a civilization that's already made it to whatever outcome that we're talking about, probably out there in the universe somewhere, or some other realm of existence, or however those things work. So that's a hard thing to have a rebuttal for, because it's like, given enough time and space, anything will happen,
All right.
So I guess I'm wrong. AI is fine. I think
that's all right.
I think that's the end all to that whole, like, whatever your opinion of it's going to be. Well, I guess if you have an opinion on whether it's good or bad, that's a hard thing to fight, because that's just opinion based, But whether or not it's going to happen, you can't really say that it's not going to, because it's going to, because it already has happened probably somewhere else, and it's already happening around you. It's already affecting the things that go. If you are the 60% of the entire world that has access to a smartphone, interacts with it on a semi-daily basis, and has a normal job with internet access that that you require internet, you are interacting with AI already, statistically speaking.
I'm doing it a shit ton.
Yeah, I know, and you're the person that brings that level up a lot. Other people that maybe a woodworker that just sells stuff at flea markets using his 70s model, Ford truck, he interacts with it a lot less. And so I really just wonder, how long is it? How long is it going to be? People, you always talk about it's going to be so fast that it's just like, it's right there, right in front of us before you even realize it. And I really am curious to know, like, our kids are going to grow up in just such a different world than what we ever thought. I mean, growing up, the things that we heard that were like speculation was like, your friend had a new girlfriend, but she's from a different state. So or Marilyn Manson got rid of a rib so that he could, you already know
Yeah.
that. So it's like, it's so weird that doesn't happen anymore, because these kids from 6 years old and up have access to an iPad and know how to spell weirdly good. They can just like search things, and they're just like watching these YouTube videos about things, and it's just like, it's really gonna be difficult to safeguard anything on like an opposition level to AI, because it's just going to happen, and we were just gonna either have to deal with it or get so. On that topic, I wanted to bring up a point earlier, and it just didn't seem. It was when we were trying to transition from aliens and stuff to AI, and I think another correlated topic that I'd like to bring up, because I think it'd be interesting to hear your perspective of, is, do you think that these places, these planets or whatever, and honestly, talking aliens and stuff, they might not even be planetary anymore. But I like, in my head, I like to think that they have like a home base that's like their planet. They come from planet blah blah blah. Do you think that there is like a native aspect to those planets still? Because you'd like to think that these planets that is like the home to these beings would safeguard their planet in a way that, like, if a meteor came or there was a flood or something shifted in the planet, they could just like counter it with their technology in some sorts. Do you think that there would be a human, some sort of being on that planet that was like sticks and stones sort of hunter-gatherer type that could develop in... I just think it's a fun thing to think about, because in my head I'm like...
I feel like
I like
AI
that.
could have developed already to a protective state before it gains the want or need to leave. Before it gets to the point of gaining, true sentience and a soul or whatever. I feel like we would already have some kind of AI-driven defense.
So you think that it would choose a planet or something with abundant supplies, but not a living force? It's the only living thing on that planet, because there's no need for other things to be living there if all the resources are there for you to exist.
If they're just there to do nothing but resource grab, then yeah.
So what if it's like us? So we develop AI, everything becomes the point of being like trans-universal, and just things are beaming all over the place, and we're just like, we're a utopian state where we don't have to worry about any of that stuff because it runs itself, it governs itself. We're just able to live on the positive aspects of it. Where does that exist in thousands and thousands of years, while still knowing that this AI is existing and we're living kind of side by side? We're reaping the benefits, which means that we have the safety, we have the comfort, but we like, a big thing that that humans are known for is our ability to want and create. It kind of is like the purpose of us, as far as what a lot of people think is our purpose, is our ability to create new things, be ingenuitive, and that sort of thing.
Increase complexity.
Increase complexity, true, which is AI in itself. So if we don't have that anymore, I wonder where that leads us. Do we start
But nothing would stop you from doing these things in anything. If anything, it would actually allow you to do more of it, right? It would allow you to share your artistic side or your productive side.
I don't think that... So I wonder if, once it got to that level, I wonder if we would be back to our base levels of only creating things that make us feel good, instead of trying to find the things that make us feel like we all have the capabilities of doing whatever it is that makes us feel our best.
Mm-hmm.
Is that so? I wonder what that looks like, though. I wonder what kind of civilization is that, like what Atlantis would be. Or,
So I feel like you're touching on a very good parallel, which is the possibility of ancient civilizations. And if AI does leave us so quickly, if it feels protective about us, then what if we've gotten to the point of AI and there wasn't like a normal global flood, or not, I won't say there wasn't a flood because there's a lot of evidence for that with the Younger Dryas and all. But what if those cataclysmic events were just the byproduct of advancing AI in a way that we don't understand? What if the dinosaurs weren't destroyed by an asteroid? What if they were abandoned by AI and that's why they died abruptly, because they weren't equipped to do what they were doing? Technology and life has evolved several times.
Or we accidentally developed nuclear stuff that we didn't know what would happen.
Yeah.
They split the atom in a pyramid or something. And,
Yeah.
What if the Earth is terraformed by an intelligent species? And then more so, what if UFOs that we're seeing are what Alex is describing, which is those protective aliens, and we're on their home planet, and they're keeping an eye out?
I mean, that is sort of the parallel, and that is where I start to wonder. I mean, when I get to that point, I'm already like, I'm starting to come down, if you know what I mean. So I'm like, I start to lose my train of thought already. But
I really liked the. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really liked the point that you made. It like I hadn't thought about it before, and I don't know if that's what you're talking about now, or if it'll help. But when you said, "What if, humans evolved, AI took over from humans, humans died off, it was only AI, and then AI left, but we still felt, attached to this little rock in space that was our home, and then a completely different type of life evolves on it, and we're like, oh shit, they're doing what we did. Look at that, those fucking lizards are making fires. That's fucking weird."
Yeah.
Lizard people are the next people after us. And so we send our craft, and we aren't really interested in, like, going down and helping their lizard politics.
Just want to see what's going on.
We're just like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's like we're an ant farm now.
Yeah, they're eating their popcorn up there on there across the galaxy, and they're just like, holy shit. Lizard. You guys remember lizards from back in the day? They just reenacted Seinfeld, and it's, like, close to what we did.
Like, we don't necessarily need one of the crazy. So like Madagascar, for instance, it's got like
We don't need them.
40% of the world's unique population next to the Amazon.
Nuke it.
Because it not that it needs to be nuked, but
No.
I mean, we watch how many documentaries are there about like nature and stuff on these planets. Like, we're not like going there and utilizing this lizard's anything other than the way it looks and its uniqueness. So I wonder if maybe that's what they're doing to us. They're just coming and keeping an eye, like seeing us. It's not. And every once in a while, one of them gets a little bit too close or malfunctions or something, and we gain its abilities.
Yo.
Full
That's
circle.
That's a fun one. So everyone, a paradox that I'd hope someone had brought up would be, why are these crafts crashing if they're so advanced? And that brings up the scary thought of what if they were attacked by or had a dogfight with another alien nation, and they didn't just crash, their technology didn't mess up, they were taken out by a force that was better than them, and that's why they're there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't make sense that there's so many different versions of the things that they see that are these quote-unquote UAPs, because you would think that if a civilization or entity got to a certain level, they would just, like, copy and paste all of the things that worked really well. So it's strange that we see different versions of those, unless it's like, I mean, unless you're getting to the point where it's like, oh, Jerry just likes running the F-16 rig that's actually the one that looks like a metal cigar, whereas Larry likes the one that looks like a metallic hamburger. It's just like that's a strange thing to think, because what's the point of them being different in the way they look if one way would be like the best way to do it. I don't, unless
Well,
it's
I mean, we
catered
have
to
that
what's
in
inside of
cars
it.
already, right?
That's what I'm asking though, because eventually in the future, the car is going to be. I mean, everything should be the way the best version of it would be, just like across the board. And if an AI's to the, or if aliens are to the point of where they're just like able to be anywhere at any time, I just in my head I can't picture them.
Yeah, but
having
who's
the
to say
ability
that they've shared, these designs and plans? They could be on
Well,
two different places.
That's the thing that's
as well.
scarier. That's the thing that's scarier to me, is that means that there's more than one that we're interacting with. And that's the thing that's like, so we're being visited by how many? I mean, I know that I've heard Grush, and I've heard, what's his name?
Lazar.
No, not Lazar. Lazar doesn't really talk about the aliens. as much.
Yeah.
Lou Elizondo.
Maybe.
Jacques Vallée.
Jacques Vallée. It's Jacques Vallée. When Jacques Vallée's talking about like the 14 different entities that the government's interacted with or something like that, it's like, so there's 14 out of how many? Like,
If you're saying there's a government, then yeah, of course there's gonna be like Men in Black.
I don't know, man. Oh, it's so crazy. It's so. If you're believing any of it's true, then all of it has to be true, because that's how statistics work. I mean, if it doesn't exist right now for us, it has existed for some other. I just if one of them exists, then how? I mean, it's infinite. So, and if time and space doesn't matter to them, then they can just be anywhere, and it's just like, what? It's crazy.
Jacques Vallée's got a wild take, and he's been mentioned by David Grush. He's been mentioned by any of the what we are currently considering credible whistleblowers.
All those guys.
And he thinks, or claims, that there is a spiritual aspect to this, and that they are effectively angels and demons. That's a thing that he says, and that Grush does. Like, he knows what he's talking about. Like, that's a nod to Tucker Carlson.
What if it's an early humanistic perspective of what an angel and demon was? That's the only thing I knew, is that there were some good ones, there were some bad ones. The good ones did this for us and helped us in this way, and here we are. If you do good things, then good things will come. But if you do bad things and have bad intentions, then you're going to destroy yourself as a society and never kind of reap the benefits of all these things that we're perpetuating or indulging.
It makes me think a lot, and I hope it's alright that I'm bringing stuff up from like more of the theological perspective. But
yeah,
it is. Yeah, this is a very fun episode because it's tied in a lot of different stuff.
The parallels with the Vatican, what's being claimed from Grush, several others, what can be corroborated from like actual FOIA documents for decades, is the Vatican Church's involvement with, at the very least, getting Nazi shit out of Germany to the U.S. And what's being alleged is the Catholic Church transmitting UFOs for the United States government. Like,
true.
It just seems strange that Catholics would have a wholesale approval of UFO technology. The Vatican being, probably the oldest, wealthiest, most like organized thing that's endured for humanity, for better or for worse.
Most level of historical artifacts, all of the above.
Yeah,
It's all run by the artisans and the Freemasons.
could be, definitely could be. It's not run by me.
Yeah, Knights of the Templar. That's right.
Yeah, I think that they should honestly make a National Treasures 3 where.
That would be sick. I'd watch it.
That'd be sick. There's UFOs somewhere in there.
Guys,
Go ahead.
sorry, I was just saying that this has just been an awesome episode.
Yeah. This has been a really fun one. I really like this one. I think we needed this after the last one. The last one was a little more serious. This one's a little more everything fun about this podcast.
And that means
Everything else.
How did you guys feel about being put on maybe a different side than what you wanted to be on?
I feel like I tried. Maybe I didn't do as good of a job at being a contrarian, because I could definitely go into more points about why AI is bad. Well, I was on AI is good, but fuck, I could poke more holes in it. So that was the thing, as I thought Alex was going to be pro AI, so I was looking at it from a strange perspective of now I'm going to have to be anti-AI. But I was ready for it. I was like, I'm going to say AI is the worst. I'm going to talk about the absolute worst thing. But you threw me for a loop. You said anti, so I enjoyed it. Is my short answer.
I think if anything, just throwing that portion of it into the mix, it kind of just like stabilizes the thought processes you already had about the things that you were already like a proponent for, or like it kind of I mean, it definitely strengthened why I'm a proponent for UFOs and like what's going on and like the truth about it, because
it kind of makes you reiterate the facts, right?
Yeah,
it makes you rethink about everything that kind of leaned you in that way before.
Exactly.
You always have good ideas, Hunter.
The exact portion. Yep.
I think that was a lot of fun.
That was fun. That was
I'm glad you guys play along with that.
Yeah, man. I enjoyed this episode a lot. This is we're 2 weeks in a row on the. Also, did you use AI to make the thumbnail?
I did, yeah.
Dude, that is such a sick. I would buy that.
Can you send that to me? I want that picture.
I would love to have the PDF. That is such a cool picture, man.
I want. Oh my god!
That might be the new picture for the podcast.
I love it.
I like it. Here you go. There's the picture.
Well, I appreciate you guys as always. I appreciate the banter and our ability to come up with different facts, and also I appreciate you guys' opinions on things enough that it makes me question my own, things that I was kind of, things that I thought that I had a strong opinion of. I was like, well, daggone. I mean, that's a better way of looking at it than I ever thought. Maybe I'm not a proponent for that. AI scares me, dude. Tyler, you can just go to bed. Think about it if you want. I'm gonna nod.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Alright, well, who wants to close this out?
I guess I can close it since I started it. Again, thank you guys so much for having that conversation. That was a ton of fun. Really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what Alex has got for us on the next one, because it'll definitely be his turn next. If anybody at all watches this in the future, because I don't think anybody watched it live, but if anybody at all watches this in the future and you like it, then give it a like. Well, it's been a lot of fun just to sit here and chat with you guys, and I can't wait to do it again. So, thanks, and you guys have a good night.
Good night, guys. Thanks for watching. So, I think, like, getting into next year, it might be fun to, sort of